Doesn't want to do Zoom. Too bad, Jim. One of these days. And also NetLogger. You got to get yourself on NetLogger. It's so much fun. We've all been using it now for quite a while. I think almost a year. And it's just part of everything now. And the Zoom, I guess, has been a couple of months, but it's so much fun. Well, let's see, anything exciting? No, let me just pass it down the list here and we'll get going. So off to Woody. Woody, I heard you loud and clear on the, well, I'm going to flip back over to the GP9 while you're talking. I'm going to see if your signal is lower or not. It's really funny because normally I've been leaving it on the vertical, and but tonight on the sideband, not sorry, sideband, the simplex net, yeah, you were a little fluttery, maybe 5.6, 5.7, and when I flipped it over to the quad, it came full quieting like everybody else was. Over to you, W6WDY, WB6UNG.
Well, fine business. Yeah, your signal was erratic when you were on the GP9 before on the FM simplex. And I know conditions change, you know, and it's not always just what's going on with our antennas and so forth. I stay on the same little 3-foot long or 2.5 foot long 3-element Yagi, and that's the one I've been using forever and ever. So it seems to get it done, but it's not perfect. It's far from that. I did mention on the other deal that I was sitting here the other day on 20 meters. I happened to walk in the room and I saw a station from the Mariana Islands, and I called him a couple times, and wow, he came right back to me, and I went, hoorah. So that's 89 countries. Now, I'm not up with you big dogs, but it just tickled the living daylights out of me. Anyhow, that's the best I can come up with. So I'm going to give it over to John, KM6JS, W6WDY. Look out.
Yeah, you're actually, your signal's a little lower tonight. I don't know why. Maybe conditions. It's about S5, usually about S7. I can hear you fine though. I can hear everybody so far. And I don't know if Jim's going to join us or not, but I guess I give it to Fred, and then we'll figure it out after that. Let me double check that. Yes, I don't want to screw up again. And I guess the 1776 discussion's over, past the 4th of July now. And but it did make me look up a few things that I remember from 6th grade. The teacher actually had songs about people in the Revolutionary War. And I was looking at some of them in my spare time. And my boss called me wanting me to work. But that happens. Over to Fred, K6CY, KM6J.
Yeah, you had stepped away, so to finish off the 1776, I think they made a musical out of that. It wasn't very good. Maybe the Broadway version was better. Let's see, what was that? Oh, 17. Yes, Lafayette. You had mentioned that you hadn't gotten Rhode Island, and so I just wanted to comment that Lafayette was famous. He performed very well at the Battle of Rhode Island in the Revolutionary War. So that rounds off my Lithuania. Yeah, I nabbed Ukraine, Denmark, Lithuania, Estonia's going by. 20 meters is hopping for Eastern Europe. Let's see, what else is, God, I had something on my mind. I don't know what it was now. We're having fun, right? Okay, K6CY, who gets it? Oh God, is that Jim out there? WB6TNF, are you really there?
Yeah, that's right, Lou. We're at 9 o'clock on Tuesday and 8:30 on Friday, the same bat channel. So it'd be great to have you on board. So Lou, I will send you a Zoom invitation and other information as well. So it'd be good to have you back. This is K1MIX, and I'll say 732 W6LUX. I understand you're signing, Lou. Is that correct?
That's correct. MIX, thank you so much. This is W6LUX clear.
Okay, Lou, thanks for joining us. We look forward to hearing you on Friday. That'd be fun. And I'll send you some information along the way to help you play along, as they say. All right. So I mentioned on the FM simplex net that we lost a couple of musical icons this weekend. Charlie Daniels, who was very famous for The Devil Went Down to Georgia, where he played the fiddle against the devil and won every time. Every time I played that record, he won. I think that was pretty cool. And the other icon was Ennio Morricone, very famous film score composer. Did things like The Mission and other light classics. A Few Dollars More. All the spaghetti westerns. He did those. And the first time in fact, the only time I ever worked with him was on The Untouchables, which is a really fun score to record. And I recorded that in New York, and it was just a hoot. It was I was just getting into film scoring at that point, and there were a lot of technical breakthroughs that we made on that score, but I won't bore you with it. So let me check NetLogger, see who comes up next. It is Randy, WB6UNG K1MIX.
K1MIX in the group, WB6UNG, and I don't know if Lou is there or he's moved on, but hello, Lou. A different Lou. The FZX Lou isn't here yet. Maybe he will be later. Let me see, what else is happening? What did I do today? I'm trying to see, did I do anything? Not much on radios. The radios were off today, which is kind of unusual for me. I have them on at some point. I wanted to get on the HF today, but it just didn't happen. And I'm still not on it. So after all of this, I probably will take a peek. I heard Fred was working some. Were you working some on 20, Fred? Yes? No, you're not. Somebody, who was it, Ellie? Somebody was mentioning that it's really good stuff going on right now. I could turn it on in the background, but I'm not going to. You guys are full screen. I could shrink you guys down and then open up the FD8 window and all that stuff if I wanted to, but nope. I'll wait. Let's see what else. Today I had just some household chores. I had to end up, what did I end up doing today? A few weird things. My tire pressure was low. I ended up driving to Costco and they filled my 4 tires up. They said all of them were low. Somehow the gauge was on. And I got gas over there. So I got gas, I got the air. And then my wife was taking a bath. I don't like baths, but she likes baths. She turns on one of the faucets, hot or cold, fills up the bath. She goes to turn it off. It doesn't turn off. It just, water was just coming out. I had to go turn off the main water to the house so that there was no overflow. And then I ended up taking the fixture apart and found out that there was a little weird adapter that's the spline on the valve and the spline on the inside of the knob. There's a little plastic adapter. This is a Kohler part. It broke. I mean, it's been in there for 10 years, so okay. And then I ended up going over to, what did I go to? Ferguson Plumbing over there in Canoga Park. I brought in the thing. I showed it to him. He goes over the shelf. He pulls these 2 little plastic pieces that cost like all of $3, and took it back home and put it in, and it was fantastic. Good as new. So I feel really good. I got all those 3 things done: gas, air, and my tires, and this little fixture thing. So that was very nice. I feel like I was useful today. And we also went to lunch over at Urban Plates. They're open. They have an outdoor area, which is, they're still serving. I didn't think they would be serving, but they're outdoors and no problem. Great lunch. Okay, let me pass it along to, who am I passing it to? Woody.
WB6UNG, W6WDY. Well, I'm glad you got that leak plumbing problem fixed. I looked out the window of the townhouse here and there was a plumbing truck across the driveway of one of the condos that some people we know are in. So I hate that because I know plumbers are not cheap. Eastern Europe, not been that busy. Without a beam, and stuff in my little wire, it's really not that productive. But I've been having such a good time. I'm not complaining. Well, yeah, I am. But I'm quite happy with the production I've gotten. We worked out the WAS, and we're pushing 100 countries, and that always makes it good. I heard Lou W6LUX. He wasn't real loud, but he was very very copyable. And Charlie Daniels, yeah, I loved his music. It was sad to hear him go. Great fiddle player, one of the best. I haven't heard Lou KM6LBW on lately. I guess he's been really busy, so we've kind of missed him. But other than that, we just get what we can on FT8 and been having a good time at it. I was tickled to get to Mariana Islands, so that I've got all the Fiji crap and everything, but the Marianas, that was a new one for me. Over to you, John, KM6JS. Wake up, W6WDY.
Alrighty, Woody. Michael unmuting me perfectly. So I have had no problems. Thank you, Michael. This is KM6JS. Thank you, Woody. Yeah, that's yeah, I heard about Charlie Daniels. I don't know the other gentleman that Michael talked about, but I know certainly know Charlie Daniels, and fantastic videos that you sent. Well, not the ones of us. Well, those were fantastic, but I didn't care that much. I did watch the whole thing, but the Lee Greenwood, God Bless the USA, and the other one with just the. I've heard of that group. I saw them do something with the Oak Ridge Boys a few years ago, and but it's the guy that makes the drum noises is fantastic. Anyhow, I'm going to give it to Fred, unless Michael changed that, didn't I? K6CY, KM6J.
Yeah, thank you for the video. I think I thanked you already for one of them, the first one, and watched the second one. And then I watched half of our performance on Friday. John checking for TNF. Okay. And I didn't get to finish it. It kept freezing on my phone, and I had trouble casting it to the TV. So anyway, I saw half of it, and it was scary as usual. I don't think I like seeing myself on video. I remind myself too much of my family. Oof, scary. Chills up and down my spine. Let's see. I went to the doctor's today, just a skin thing, so nothing life-threatening. But it was weird being out, masked up and that Kaiser, and holed up in a little room with strangers. Well, at least not family members, not strangers. I've only been seeing the guy for 15 years. Apparently, I'm not going to die today. And yeah, Charlie Daniels, that's really sad. Now, Ennio Morricone, wow, what a giant. Yeah, that's sad too, but he was old. So was Charlie, wasn't he? Yeah, we're all getting there. Oh, God, that's scary. And I wanted to ask Lou and Winnetka if he had anything to do with UCLA, with an LUX call sign. That's UCLA's motto, almost. What else is going on here? Oh, yeah, so I spent 4th of July evening watching Hamilton, and it was quite excellent, by the way. Highly recommend it. Lots of history, very palatable and enjoyable. And there you go. Okay, K6CY, passing it on to, let's see. I got too many things on the screen here. KM6TVJ, oh my goodness. Geoff, hey Geoff, take it.
Hey,
Fred and the group came.
TVJ. Good to be here. Good to see all of your faces. I have not been keeping up on who has been dying, so I just learned tonight about those two, and that is very sad. I've been busy with something like work, also known as looking for work, because I'm not retired yet, unfortunately, but such is life. I've also been doing more important things, like making lots of contacts on single sideband. Today I spoke with a gentleman in West Virginia and someone else in Michigan. And I've spoken with people in Delaware. So I'm actually coming up. I've got 41 out of 50 for worked all states, single sideband confirmed, and only 3 or 4 states with 0 contacts. So working on it one thing at a time. And what else do I have? I have July 4th. Went over to the nephews. Well, went with my wife to her sisters, and I torture the nephews, and the girls, did girl things. I don't know what they did. I threw my nephews around a pool. It was great. And had barbecue, and everybody had a great time. And then I watched Los Angeles explode all night with all the fireworks. I think that was the biggest fireworks show I've ever been to. Just the valley, all over. Some people right across the street were shooting stuff off. In fact, as we were driving home, people were shooting off fireworks back and forth. So that's all I have for the time being. I'm sure I'll think of something, but I will hand it to K1MIX. This is KM6 TVJ.
Thank you. Yeah, the people that I was talking about, Charlie Daniels, 83, died of a stroke, and Ennio Morricone, a very famous film score composer. He did a lot of stuff, and like I said, the only one I did with him was The Untouchables, which is a lot of fun. And there is one scene that I cannot forget. Oh, David Mamet did the screenplay. And I'm a big fan of David Mamet. I worked with him several times. And there is a place where Sean Connery and the other guy, who I have no respect for, the star of the movie. Who started the movie? Kevin Costner. So Sean Connery and Kevin Costner were on the bridge, and they have this little repartee. And Sean Connery is a cop, a down and dirty beat cop, and Kevin Costner is this highfalutin treasury guy. And so Connery notices that he's armed, pokes his gun with his nightstick and says, are you armed, or some more words to that effect. And Costner says, yeah, I'm a treasury agent. And Connery says, okay, and starts to walk away. And so Kevin Costner gets miffed by this whole thing and says, what are you doing turning your back on a guy that you know is armed just because I said I'm a treasury agent? And Connery says, who would claim to be a treasury agent who was not? And I just thought that was hilarious. It's one of the best lines in all of moviedom. So anyway, that was one of the things that I really enjoyed about the movie. And of course, the orchestra was great as well. And Morricone has a very good understanding about how to write for brass. He always modulates the key into something that the brass will automatically sound really sparkling in. And he does that extremely well. Okay, enough trivia for you guys. And let's see, I'm going to send it to Randy, WB6UNG K1MIX.
Yeah, I was just trying to glance through the news here and pick up some of the stories of the guys that you were just talking about. Well, certainly Charlie Daniels. I read them before. It's a shame. I mean, he was a talent, and they all were extremely talented in their own respective fields of entertainment. Let's see who else died. Mary Kay Letourneau died. That was a strange story. I can't find the ones that I wanted to in the entertainment section, but okay. Yeah, the spaghetti westerns and all that stuff. Wow. As just a consumer of that, you don't really think much of sometimes about the people who actually create that, even though all the credits are there when you see a movie. You say, okay, it's like, but for the most part, yeah, we didn't see your name on there, Mike. And usually we look we're the kind of people, if we do watch a movie, we watch all the credits. We watch to the end. We never get up and walk out like some people do. It's part of the movie. So, but I just don't recall seeing his name for some reason. He was just like, until he heard that he died, I just didn't even have any thoughts of the guy. And he's produced a lot of scores. So over the years, I don't know when the last one was. Maybe you do. How old was he? Charlie was 83, I think, and the other guy, I don't know the age. Don't have the story in front of me here. But everybody does die, unfortunately. At least they died of normal things. Not what's going on with COVID. Oh my gosh. Let's see. What else is happening? There's one other thing I wanted to say I was involved with. Oh, another home project. I went to fill up my CO2 canister over on Parthenia at Tavern Service. I don't know if anybody have ever been into Tavern Service, but you could fill up CO2 stuff. And I mean, they service all the bars and restaurants and things, but you can buy CO2 there. So I had one of those Soda Streams. It was the one I got at Costco 10 years ago. They do not sell that any longer. They only sell you this little skinny one. Well, I got the big fat one. So I take it over there and they fill it up for very little money. If you exchange those canisters, over to wherever you take them to, they're like 3 times the cost. So I took the thing over there for, I don't know how many times I've gone. I've probably been there 50 times. Fill up the canister, bring it home, put it in the machine, and the machine, I hear a big pop, and it wasn't the canister that went pop, but the thing you screw it into, the plastic parts gave away, and it's totally a piece of junk. So I have a completely filled canister with nothing to put it into. So I started looking online how to make soda. I figured, hey, I could go buy myself another Soda Stream or something, but again, I've got this nice canister I can't use because none of the new ones want to use those big those 3 liter or whatever size they were. They're 3 pound, I forget how big they are. It's the larger one. They just don't sell them any longer. They want you to buy the skinny ones because they can make a lot more money on the skinny ones than on the fat ones. But I looked on YouTube. Oh, there's a lot of YouTube videos about people making their own seltzer machine type things out of plumbing parts. And so I'm going to do that. I decided I'm not going to give the money to a commercial thing. I'm just going to buy stuff on wherever I can get it and put it together. It sounds like a fun project.
Thank you, Randy, WB6UNG, and y'all, W6WDY. Well, I'm sorry to hear your canister works, but the machine doesn't. I've never bothered with soda. I don't do much soda at all. But hopefully you'll untangle that wreck and everything will get better. Credits are interesting. Doing almost 35 years, I got credits on just a ton of movies. The latest ones I was on were, the Transformers movies and Captain America movies and all that. But I found out years ago that those credits and $2 will buy you a cup of coffee. So all I cared about was every Thursday when we got paid that the payroll company's check cashed. But Jeannie gets a kick out of it. And our son, he's an assistant director. He's in the DGA. And she's always looking for his credits, And evidently there's some sort of diversity because his credits are worth a heck of a lot more money than mine are. And I don't understand that. But the only thing I fill up is I've got a paramedic oxygen tank. And because I'm a diver, I can go to medical supply stores and they will test and fill my medical oxygen tank. The reason I have it is the cause of bends is nitrogen in the bloodstream, and oxygen is the only first aid for that. So we always carried oxygen on our dive boats until, you know, that's just a stopgap till you can get into a decompression chamber. But if you can get on good oxygen, it gives you a little bit of a fighting chance. And but good luck on that. You did a great job on your tub. Uh, my gosh, your wife could have drowned in there. You know, you got to be careful about that. Over to you, John, KM6JS. Look at you. He's moving. He's awake. W6WDY.
You know, I'm not asleep. And I don't know, but that diving, have I ever told you guys that when I went to get my card, the final, I went with a friend of mine, went to do the final dive off of a boat out off of Anacapa, and I was 2 groups behind him, probably alphabetical. Anyhow, right before I was supposed to jump in the water, they start yelling, "Help! He's had an embolism. He's got blood coming out his nose." I go with him on the Coast Guard boat, and the Coast Guard helicopter picks him up, takes him to Catalina to the recompression chamber. I guess at that point he was paralyzed and blind. They kept taking him down and basically got him more or less fixed. But it was really scary after all that to go ahead and do my final dive, and I only dove one more time after that. Anyhow, over to Fred.
I don't have much more going on here. Had a nice dinner from California Pizza Kitchen. We picked it up on the way back from Kaiser, and so it was we were being really bad tonight. We're not supposed to do that. It's bad for us. Sugar and salt and all those bad stuff. Let's see, what are we? We're diabetic, and my wife is diabetic, and I'm pre-diabetic, and I'm flirting with gout. And of course, that's not to mention the cholesterol and the blood pressure and the general Looney Tunes that are going around in my head. But other than that, I am in great health. So K6CY, passing it on to the big Jeffrey. Take it, Geoff.
Well, thank you, Fred. K6CY, KM6TVJ. Not to compare IMDb pages because they don't compare at all, but I posted a link to mine there too. I will live my entire life with the peak of my career being Sharknado. So, I was on set for 3 weeks on that one. I could tell stories, but not on the air publicly. Anyway, but I'm very happy with my photo that I have there. So that's a plus. That's a plus. What else do I got? I ain't got much. I've got plans to build an antenna tuner. Today I started taking apart the old tube TV for parts. So I'll make a catalog of that and see how it works out. And I may have to build an SWR meter or break down and buy one or something. So I know that it's working. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, and I'm planning on building a 2-meter Yagi, but I've heard it's very difficult. I've got a 70-centimeter Yagi, and I want to do some satellite stuff, and so I need 2 meters for the other end of that. All these plans with my free time. And speaking of free time, I'll hand it off to Michael, K1MIX, KM6TVJ.
Free time, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, except, you know, being basically unemployed. And that translates pretty easily into free time, I gotta say. So for you folks who are interested, I did put a link to my IMDb page, both on NetLogger and also on the chat screen. So you can see all the time that I've wasted over the years. And like that. So as far as credits go, you know, if you want to see my name on the screen, what you have to do is you have to wait until just before it says, please watch your step exiting the theater. And that's where my name will be. And you can easily find it that way. And, you know, it is kind of interesting because that is where they put, and it's all negotiated by the unions that we belong to. I'm in local 700, the Directors Guild. Why? I don't have any idea. Why am I in the Directors Guild? Makes no sense to me. And when I was originally in 695, which is the production sound, on-set sound, and then they transferred me over to 700. And when I called them up and I said, hey, they said I should transfer my membership. And they said, well, what do you do? So I said, I'm a scoring mixer. And they said, oh, well, that's kind of like re-recording mixer, isn't it? I said, no, not hardly at all. But, they persisted with that concept. And so that's where they stick me in the Y1 category for re-recording mixers. Fred, your signal is about S2, and I don't know why, because usually it's much higher than that. Geoff, 2-meter Yagi, I have one on the north side of the house, and if you want to come pick it up, you're welcome to it. It's like a 9 or 11 or 15 element Yagi. I don't know what it is, but and I have no idea how it works because I've never hooked it up. But you're welcome to it. If you want to come get it, you can have it. So let me see what else is on my list. Worked all states. People use the term single sideband, and I think what they really mean is phone. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think FT8 is single sideband as well, and that ain't phone. So, if you're doing phone and that kind of stuff, yeah, that's what it is. If you're doing FT8, that's something else. But they're both single sideband. All right, Randy, over to you. WB6 UNG. I don't know why I do that. K1MIX.
Well, FT8 is upper sideband, but it's obviously digital tones on and off, 8 of them. Bit patterns. But your carrier is suppressed, and the tones appear like voice, right? But 8 tones within 50 hertz of whatever you want to call your center frequency is. I think they're roughly 6 hertz, spaced about 6.6 hertz apart. Yeah, something like that, a little over 6. So 6 times 8, 48 hertz. The whole width of an FT8 signal is only 50 hertz wide, call it that. And of course, you can space them out across the entire 3 kilohertz spectrum of one voice channel, right? One sideband voice channel is about 3 kilohertz. You could fit like 50 or 60 stations stacked up in a row, which is amazing. And in fact, it's so good that you can even be on top of each other, and the algorithms can sort it out. It's amazing that you can do that. Somebody was joking about, well, I think Mark was working FT4, which is now popular. It's way faster, but there's only 4 tones instead of 8 tones, right? So it doesn't have quite the dynamic range that FT8 has for weak signal. It kind of drops out at, I forget what the decibels are, but the FT8, you can go like 23 decibels below the noise floor, and still, the software can find you, even though you can't see it or hear it you can't see it on the waterfall, and you can't hear it if you listen to it, but you're there in the noise, and it's amazing. But somebody was joking, oh, why don't they just do FT1? Well, that's 1 tone. Hey, that's CW. It's on and off. That's CW, so, okay. Not coded like CW, like Morse code, but it's still, a single tone. It's as good as you get, I guess, CW. Let's see what else. I looked at your list there, Mike. I saw it before, but I really didn't take a good look through it until now. Your all those movies, amazing. Wow, you were a busy guy through your career. Lots and lots of stuff. A lot of them I saw. A lot of them I, never heard of. But that's very impressive. But you don't have a photo of yourself up on your IMDb page. So who does that? You have to put a photo up or something? I don't know. It's just a blank, little thing. You need a photo. We all know what you look like. Let's see. I did not turn on my rig yet. I was gonna, since the last time I was gonna turn on the FT8 in the background. I never got around to it. So I probably will just for fun, just to see what's out there on 20. And 20's really been amazing at night. I mean, if you look at the where all the activity is, there's this little band graph of activity that comes from PSK Reporter, little bar chart, and it'll show you, okay, 20's got all this activity, and anything above it is almost zero, and 30 has a little bit less, and then 40's grown at night. 40 has a lot of activity, not so much on 80. But anyway, you can kind of get a feel for who's working where and go to those bands. And 20 has been amazingly open. So I really enjoyed 20 at night on FT8. You mentioned, Geoff, you're doing your worked all states on Sideband, right? Sideband? Not FT. You're not doing digital yet. And you're not doing CW yet, right? No. Okay, just voice. That's one thing I have not done, but I've worked all states on FT8. That's easy. It's really easy. But the other stuff, not so easy. The voice and CW, it's very difficult. So congrats, you're very close to that. I'd like to do that next after I have one more band. I think we talked about this before. I have 10 meters left. I got 3 states. Rhode Island, speaking of Rhode Island, I'm missing Rhode Island, Montana, and Alaska. Those 3 states on 10 meters, and I'll have worked those states. And I've got them on all of the bands all the way up to 80. I don't have it on 160 yet, but most of them I've completed. So I'm very happy, to do that. And when I finally get 10 meters done, I'm going to start going to the other modes like voice and CW. I think that'd be more of a challenge, certainly more challenge. Okay, let me pass it down the list here. And I don't know the list because where is it? Hang on a sec. Oh, there we are. Okay, back to Woody. W6WDY, WB6UNG. Take it, Woody.
Anyhow, WB6UNG, W6WDY. Yeah, I play on 80, or not 80, 20 most of the time, but I've actually got some nice contacts on 40. I actually got Spain on 40. And, we're talking apples and oranges from, what you guys work. But that was a pretty good look ad for me. But it's an interesting thing about credits on IMDb. The production company will upload info to IMDb without you doing anything or not. And about 15 years ago, I lost my password for IMDb. And I could never get them to figure out and let me know how to reset it. And since I really didn't care, I never did. So my son looks up IMDb and he goes, well, didn't you work on this? I go, yeah. He said, well, it's not there. And I said, so what? I'm retired anyhow, and I get a pension. So I doubt if they'll take it away from me. But you have to watch IMDb because not all production companies will upload and put your info in there. So you have the option with your password and all to go in and load different projects you worked on and get it current. Now I can't remember what I worked on, when I worked on it, or anything else. So it wouldn't really much matter. But IMDb it isn't as handy as it was, because most everything we do is now by contact. We talk to people. The people that hire us don't look at IMDb. They know who we are. They talk to people we work for. I was fortunate to have a good reputation in the business as a grip, and I was pretty well. I had a lot of things I could do. I could do production, which I hated profusely, but I was a very good dolly grip and pushed dolly on some pretty big features. And then I loved rigging. I loved working high. I loved building things for camera, for electric. And so I was pretty versatile, and I was blessed. I actually worked a lot. But unfortunately, being below the line, we didn't make that much money. If you didn't work 90 hours a week, you were barely above the poverty level.
Alrighty, Woody, W6WDY, KM6 Jazz. Yeah, actually, I was looking at I was showing your page, Michael, today to my Chinese chemist, one of them, because I had forwarded the link to the YouTube video with Lee Greenwood, although he's not, he doesn't listen to that much. He usually listens to classical type music and opera and stuff, but he thinks he can sing like Bing Crosby. Maybe he can. I don't know. Anyhow, he said, "Who is that guy?" So I was showing him who you were. Anyhow, so I've looked at it today. Didn't look at it yesterday, but anyhow, you still have a lot of credits. And I also looked at your K1MIX.net page today, because I was trying to remember what symphony you said you played for. Indianapolis was the last one, but it was there because I was trying to tell. Hang on. Anyhow, I'm going to give it over to Fred.
So, yeah, I was just reviewing your page there, Michael, and I'd forgotten just how many really, really, really good pictures you worked on. So, guys, I hate to break it to you, but we're in the presence of greatness. You know, Michael, I take my hat off to you. Yep, I mean, that just not just one and not just two and not just 10 and not just 20, but man, oh man, oh man. So many good ones. Except that, you know, Geoff has something up on you with that Sharknado. You have not done anything that compares to Sharknado, and you must admit that that's true. But we won't go any further with that one. Okay, K6CY, let's see, what else do I have? Not much. Randy, your little recitation there on FT8 and FT4 was scary. I must admit I was scared. That's good information. Thank you. Okay, K6CY, passing it on to whoever comes next. What is that? Oh, it's Jeffrey. Speak of the devil. Okay, KM6TVJ, this is K6CY.
K6CY, KM6TVJ. Yeah, Michael, I looked at your IMDb once and then I got depressed for a week. And I have not looked at it again. It's incredibly impressive and you should be quite proud. And of all the things that you've offered for me to borrow or keep, I think I will definitely take you up on the Yagi and we'll work that out. And I've got a little placard here with my call sign on my rig here, and I think eventually I'm just going to have to replace it with K1MIX because I have so much of your stuff here. It's just, I'm operating, but all this stuff is actually Michael. But thank you. I do appreciate that. And satellites are one of the things that I wanted to get into that was one of the things that got me excited about getting into ham when I was studying for my license a little over 2 years ago. So how I will hold up two massive Yagis and aim them, I'll figure that out. That's mine. I got a whole lot of nothing after that. I thought I did, but I don't. So I will hand it off to the great man himself, Michael, K1MIX, KM6TVJ.
Well, thanks, Geoff. Yeah, I mean that sincerely. Yeah, you're welcome to pick up the Yagi anytime you want. It's just sitting on the north side of the house. And yes, Fred, that was the whole deal. Kiss my ring. that was the whole idea. Yeah. Okay. You guys probably are aware by this time that I began life as an orchestral trumpet player. That's how I started. I was a music major at Indiana University in the early 60s. And then in the middle 60s, at the age of 19, I auditioned for and got the job of associate principal trumpet in the Dallas Symphony, and went down to Dallas and played, and then wound up as principal trumpet in Indianapolis. It's kind of interesting because, you know, I've been through a profession of orchestral trumpet playing, professional aviation, recording engineer, and I feel like that my skill level in each of those areas is about the same. But I got to tell you, the pay scale is so dramatically different as to be totally unbelievable. like orchestral musicians don't get paid very much at all, and they get ridiculed. And Geoff can can confirm this by conductors and all sorts of crazy people at the same time. And in aviation, you don't get paid very well at all unless you're absolutely the most senior captain on the most prestigious airline and flying the biggest and fastest airplane. And this goes back like 30 years, but 30 years ago, as a captain in a twin engine piston powered airplane, I was being paid $20 an hour, gear up to gear down. And you didn't get paid for loading the airplane or pre-flighting or weather briefings or anything else. That was just what you had to do. And when I got into the turbine equipment, it went up to, whoa, be still my heart, $30 an hour. So I feel like that was the big time. And once again, this goes back 30 years. So, it's probably $35 an hour now. So, well, and maybe Geoff can shed some light on that. I don't really know what the jobs pay anymore. But stand by one. I gotta go to this background, and you know why? Because it's last call. Please step up to the bar and place your order, and hopefully you will be served before the lights go dim. But in the meantime, I'm going to send it over to Randy, WB6UNG. I didn't forget the B this time. I think you must be proud of me. K1MIX, going to say 7-3 all around. Thanks a lot for dropping by. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. Good night, everybody. 7-3. Over to you, Randy.
Thank you, Mike. K1MIX and everybody. WB6UNG. It was a nice round table this evening. I just got the FT8 up and running, and yeah, there's a bunch of Europeans coming through on 20 right now, so I think I'll go and work a few. Yeah, that's about it. It was fun, and we'll do it on Friday. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking over here and see everything's okay. Am I transmitting? Not on, I know I am on 2 meters. By the way, I just saw W6LUX on FT8 on 20 meters. So he mentioned FT8, and here he is. So he was operating. Lou, right? This is Lou? Yes, in Winnetka. So we'll catch you all, some of you on the net tomorrow, the Wednesday 10-meter net, and Thursday, Mike, you're going to be doing net control Thursday. That's awesome. That's going to be great. We haven't heard you on the club nets in a considerable amount of time. So it'll be good to hear you. And I won't miss it. 73 all. W6WDY to take it. This is WB6UNG and the group. 73.
Well, IMDb, I honest to gosh haven't looked at my IMDb for years. Maybe one of y'all can look it up. It's under C.B. Woody Lang or Charles B. Lang. I don't even know what's on there all this time. I honestly I couldn't tell you. But the only instrument, my dad was a first trumpet for Don Glasser's band in the 40s. And he kept all the talent to himself. But my half-brother was one of the best guitar players I've ever had the privilege of being around. And I did learn to play bass guitar a little bit, very little. And we used to play a little bit. But I was good on the washtub bass. But my brother and a friend of ours named Fitzgerald, he was a banjo player. Tommy, I met him through the rodeo circuit that I was on, and Tommy actually played solo at the Grand Ole Opry at 16. So my brother and Tommy would get together at the ranch, and we'd all sit around and drink beer, go figure, and these guys would jam, and I mean, it was just amazing. One of the highlights of my entire life. We really enjoyed their music, and these boys were good. And they would test each other. John learned to play dueling banjos when he was 12 years old, so he was no slacker, but he died at the age of 50 from melanoma. Thank you, Mike, for gathering up all the cats and herding them around. and I am going to say goodnight in 7-3. And when we're all done, I'll listen out. I got to go scrub a skillet in the kitchen. Back to you, John, KM6JS, W6WDY, happily listening out.
Anyhow, yeah, Geoff found your page, Woody. He put up a link if you want to look at it. That is your page, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, that's, I think it's terrific you guys in the entertainment business are associated with Geoff and Michael and Woody. And I know Randy's a software engineer, and Fred was a big time manager at UCLA or whatever. UCLA or USC? USCLA, right? Fred? UCLA. All right. Anyhow, and